This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. Listen to my radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on Houston's gospel leader, KWWJ. 1360 AM and streaming live on kwwj.org. Listen on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and streaming live on kyokradio.org. KCOH 1230 AM, The Source. On San Geek Radio 95.1 FM 1460 AM. And Aliento Radio 101.7 FM and 1540 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. All right, Houston, this is Gilbert Garcia with another tip for me, Talk Inspiration and Prayer. Thank you, studio audience. We're going to have a guest here momentarily, and that is none other than Pastor Willie Davis, who, of course, is now at-large council member, position number 2. But before we do, I had someone send me information about the President Biden's award of Medal of Honor. And I wasn't too familiar with it. And of course, we're celebrating. It's so wonderful to hear of 7 Medal of Honor winners. 2 were African American, and 1, of course, was Hispanic, which is wonderful. And I just want to make sure people know what that means, because I didn't. And when I read it, I was in awe. The Medal of Honor is awarded to members of the armed forces who distinguish themselves conspicuously by gallantry and intrepidity. I'm struggling today, at the risk of their own lives, above and beyond the call of duties. So it's essentially war heroes. They've been engaged in action against the enemy, engaged in military operations. It's amazing. And when you read more about it, it says here the conduct must involve great personal bravery or self-sacrifice. There must be uncontestable proof of the performance of their conduct. And I was reading some of the people who received it. And of course, they received it most recently. And of course, it was for gallantry during war, some in Korea and some during Vietnam. And I just want to go through some of these heroes, because we in our community, especially the African American and Latino community, need to celebrate our heroes all the time, more than ever, especially in these difficult times that we live in. And so one was Corporal Fred McGee, and he was a gunner on a light machine gun in a squad, and he delivered a heavy volume of supporting fire from an exposed position despite intense enemy machine gun and mortar fire directly on his location. So here he is, Corporal McGee, under fire, exposed, and delivering fire. And his machine gunner was mortally wounded, so he took up the gun. Unbelievable. And here's another one. Private First Class Charles Johnson, another African American, for gallantry beyond the call of duty. And of course, he served during Korea. And during the battle, overwhelming number of Chinese troops assaulted the trenches and bunkers that were defended by the private and his squad. And here he was under fire, and he continued to stay there. He continued to, quote, drag a wounded soldier to the safety of a secure bunker, stopping intermittently to aid injured soldiers, and killed several enemy members in hand-to-hand combat. I can't even imagine such a thing. And here he was, a private, and he himself is credited with saving the lives of over 10 soldiers. And then I want to get to one of our own, meaning he's from South Texas. First Lieutenant Richard Cavazos. He led his men in a raid on the entrenched enemy upon heavy casualties, and he twice led the company through a heavy barrage of in assaults on the enemy position, each time destroying vital enemy equipment and personnel. These people are true heroes, and I think we should all recognize their sacrifice, because many of them were wounded, and several, of course, had been killed, and they, of course, have seen death firsthand. And so for those who received the Medal of Honor, and for those 2 African Americans and 1 Latino, and of course they tell me that we had some Asian Americans also, we salute you. Your country does, and the city of Houston does. We already have a caller, so maybe he wants to opine on some of this. And if there's any veterans, feel free to call in. Tell us your experience. But we have Isidro. Isidro, are you there?
I'm here.
What say you, Isidro? I just was called by someone who said we should recognize who then became a 4-star general, Cavazos. And as I read his bio, rightly so, and of course he received the presidential Medal of excuse me, let me get the right award here.
Congressional Medal of Honor.
Yes, a Congressional Medal of Honor. Isidro, what do you think about that?
It is a tremendous honor. I think he's our 63rd Hispanic that has received the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Wow.
So there's not that many. Yet a lot of minorities. You mentioned a couple of privates. You know, our army, our armed forces is comprised mainly, and the ones that do the as we call it, the grunt work.
Yes.
Are usually privates and staff and sergeants, etc. And there are leaders that also get in front with their troops, and General Cavazos was one of those. So we were honored when that happened. And as you know, the only base in the United States has 453 military posts that are named after someone, and the only base that is named after an Hispanic is General Cavazos, which used to be Fort Hood, a member of the Confederacy, and there was 9 forts that were renamed because of that this past year, and General Cavazos was one of them.
You mean to tell me of 453 bases, where of course we know them by name, we have Fort Bragg, Fort Hood, all these, and we take those names for granted. And you mean with all these, the pride of the military, all the personnel there, the economic engine it provides, only one is named after a Hispanic?
Well, we celebrate the fact that we did get one named.
Yes.
In General Cavazos. But then after you finish celebrating, you got to get back to reality. Yes, that's the fact. And that's why it is really, I've gotten, I stepped on a few toes by mentioning the fact that out of those 9 that we should have gotten, we had an opportunity to name, catch up. I would name all 9.
Yes.
But to only get one, and we have Roy Benavides.
Yes.
Winner.
Tell us about Roy Benavides, because I know how famous he is, and I remember the story. But please go through that with us.
Yes, Roy Benavides from El Campo. In 1981, we celebrated him, and we honored him. In the Cinco de Mayo held in Texas City, and we had about 20,000 people that showed up, and we flew him in with in a squadron of helicopters, because that's what he was. He was a soldier, a fighter, as tough as nails. You know the movie Rambo, and
Yep.
Roy Benavides, every bit of that plus, so he himself did not want to get honored, and he didn't want us to do anything for him. But somehow or another, we convinced him, and it was possibly one of the best recognitions that he has ever experienced, with that many people coming out. We did a lot of other things, but his was one of the key. When he was walking up on the stage, we had a Phantom 4 flyby with missing man formation. And so, yeah, the Hispanics and minorities have played a vital role in the liberty and fighting for the liberties that we now enjoy. So I salute the fact that we did get General Cavazos in, but I also have to underscore what you caught in my statement, and that is we're behind the eight ball, and our country is not that. Our country we're a good country, and that's something that we need to work on to make it better.
Well, Isidro, I appreciate you. We have Councilman Willie Davis, who just arrived. Councilman, we're just talking about the Congressional Medal of Honor, and we're talking about there were 7 that received it. And I'm so happy to report that 2 were African Americans and 1 was a Latino. And I kind of went through their stories. Mm-hmm. And when you hear their stories, it's just breathtaking. Yes. It's just breathtaking. Mm-hmm. And Isidro was commenting that there are 453 bases in the country, and only 1 is named after a Latino. Isidro, do you happen to know how many have been named after a African American?
I do not know that.
I bet you it's a small number as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I bet you it's a small number as well. Well, we need to honor our own. And we need to hold them up high, because that's the only way that the general community will get to truly accept all of us and really admire us for our own sacrifices that we've made throughout history. Isidro, anything else you want to add, my friend?
Happy New Year to everyone that's you're listening, a todos los radio escuchas. Un feliz año le deseamos a todos ustedes. Reverend Davis, we're at your service. Anything that we can do for you, we're at your service. You're a good man and you're a good leader, and we're so proud to have you be our councilman.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. Always good to hear your voice. It is such an honor to serve this city, because this is home for me, and I'm just grateful to you and Gilbert and others for support. And certainly for you. God bless you in this new year.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow at the Barrio Boys breakfast.
You better know it. I'll be right there.
Thank you, Isidro. So before we go into the councilman, I just want to do one more thing, if you don't mind, Councilman, which is President Biden announced the recipients of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Now, that is the highest award that can be bestowed upon a civilian. That's the highest one.
That's right.
And of 19, there were only 3 African Americans and only 2 Hispanics. And, you know, I look at that and I say, my goodness, you know, it's not about sort of what's the right number, this or that, but I mean, my goodness, can't we do better than that? I mean, I know we have heroes. And when I was looking at the winners, and I'm not taking anything away from the winners, and especially those that practice such enormous philanthropy. But when you talk about, you know, a fashion designer, Ralph Lauren, when you talk about billionaires like George Soros and David Rubenstein, I mean, look, they've had so many awards, Hillary Clinton, many awards and accolades in their life.
Yeah.
It's about, in my view, really highlighting those outside that famous zone, and really highlighting our own. And so, you know, Houston, in general, ask questions, because you know what? Sometimes you may not like the answer, But by asking the questions, you'll really get to highlight what's really the problem, which is, my goodness, there are incredible African-American leaders, presidents of universities, civil rights icons, same thing with the Hispanic community, that need to get these sorts of recognition and honors.
Absolutely.
Amen for that. I know we already have another caller. Hold on.
Sure.
So, Councilman Willie Davis, we're going to go through his bio because I have your bio, and I'm just going to really highlight really one thing that you said because it really captures the essence of you. But we have, who was it? Vicky. Vicky, are you there?
I'm here, Gilbert.
How are you? And
I'm great.
It's so great that we had you on my show last week to talk about all the young people in Hero and all the things that you're doing to change lives. And we have Council Member Willie Davis here, of course, who's a pastor. And by the way, I keep seeing people saying things on social media. I'll try to highlight some of the things that you said, but keep going. So, Vicky, what do you got there for us?
Hey, thank you so much. Hey there, Councilman, Pastor, and friend, amigo, hermano, Davis. How are you?
I'm doing good, my sister. It's good to hear your voice. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
Absolutely.
Gilbert, thank you so much for having us. I was on a phone call right now. We're just excited about what's happening. We got our Hero Bulletin that's out, with all the support that, you have done, and everyone, all our contributors. We are hitting up we have apartments here, like 9 apartments that Heroes going into. So we're just solidifying that and putting schedules up, right?
Oh, how wonderful.
Heroes.
How wonderful.
Mhm.
Well, so to have you, Vicky, I'm going to just go through a quote here by the councilman, if you don't mind, Councilman. And
Absolutely.
I want to call you pastor, but I don't know if I should call you councilman.
You can call me either or.
Okay, well, good.
Let me tell you, the mayor said that when he first.
Did he say that too?
Yeah, the mayor said, pastors, pardon me for not maybe calling you council member, but you're a pastor. So it's kind of hard for me to do one. I said, Mayor, whatever you call me, I'm going to answer.
There you go. Yeah. And
so really
as I heard someone say, you can call me this, but just don't call me late for dinner.
It's going to look me late.
You know what I'm saying? But no, when I'm going to read this, Vicky, because you'll appreciate this too. So, of course, the pastor was raised in the 3rd Ward by a single mother, and you were in a home of 10 siblings.
That's correct.
Oh my God, I can only imagine what Thanksgiving was like at your house or Christmas.
Oh man.
And at my house, I only had 4 kids, but they were rambunctious, as I'm sure you and your siblings were. And my daughter, she's the baby, she's the only girl, because she had to survive in a household with all these men. Yeah. She would, whenever we go to the store, she would get her own favorite food or popsicles. She would label them so the boys wouldn't eat it. And they would say, "This is Juju's, and that means you, Ben, don't eat it." But I can only just imagine the beautiful, what it was like. But you said here that wealth and comfort were luxuries that you were unfamiliar with. But these hard times taught him a lesson, to carry that has carried on with you your whole life. And you had a quote, and it said, quote, "We had very little money and it was a hard time, but what we did have was each other."
Exactly.
What a beautiful thing to say. And that is really the hallmark of what has driven you your whole life.
Yes.
And, that's a lot of what drives, I know, Vicky, as well as all the things in Hero and everything else. Tell us more. Hero.
So with Hero, we've gone into different charter schools, public schools, going into right now, we have about 200 teens coming into Milby. Oh, I forgot that pastor went to Austin, but that's okay.
There you go. Don't you leave the Mustangs out.
We are not going to leave Mustangs. We are definitely working with working with Austin and Fur, Chavez High School and everything.
Yes.
But the thing is right now we've been blessed to have 200 children.
Beautiful.
Some of these children are at risk, and I just got off the phone this morning with the HPD. They're going to be coming in, talking to the Heroes, the Bridge Over Troubled Waters, all these partners to talk about abuse, violence, letting them know, educating our children, and just make it personable about the community, aka the village, coming together to say, you know what, there is hope. There is hope. Yesterday I talked to about 20 kids, Gilbert, 20 of them. I had on my leaders, and they're like, Miss Cruz, we want to do what you do. I'm like, you're already doing it. You're doing it, And I'm like, but I want to know what you're struggling with. What do you struggle with? They're like math and this and that. And so we're looking for tutorials. So if anybody's listening, we need people to teach these young kids, because little something that if we can fix to help them resolve their insecurities, whether it's food, whether it's maybe tutorials, it's like, imagine being empowered, because something so small can just hurt their whole lives because they never knew how to get those resources. And so what we're doing with these kids, because I said, guys, look, one day we're going to be gone. I know that there's eternal life, and the only one that's going to be here is always Jesus. Amen.
Amen for that.
Jesus will always be here. And we've got, of course, teach the kids about that. But right now it's about saying, what are you struggling with that's knocking that confidence out, that we can just shift off the way? And they're so excited. And they're like, well, I'm struggling with respect. I said, well, you're a hero. You shouldn't. And I said, you have to respect, guys. And so it's just beautiful. These kids are hungry. I talked to them about Daisy's event that's happening in March, and they're like, we're going to help. I said, yes.
Right.
Anyway.
Well,
yeah.
Victor, we just so appreciate you and everything that you do. And just call in again and keep us posted on everything.
I appreciate you guys. Hey, Pastor, let me know when you and Alexa are doing something great and amazing for the community. I'm there to support you guys.
You better know it, Vicky. The wife and I, we love you, and we certainly support you. I do, always have, and we look forward to working with you with Heroes, because of the fact that, we want to be involved with anything that helps to change in our community, especially among the Black and Latinos. We got to do more. And that's what I commend you for, Gilbert, for bringing that issue up. There's a lot that our city is going to have to embrace, and they got to get ready for it. And so that's because I'm a Third Ward East End guy. See, I'm the East End, because I graduated from Stephen F. Austin. So all of my friends, brothers, sisters were Latino, Jesse Rodriguez, and all of us grew up together. And so what Vicky is doing, I applaud her, because she's trying to do something to give back to the community from which she comes from, and that's what we have to do.
Well, Amen. It's not just that community. I mean, I'm all over the city of Houston.
Well, sure.
The thing about it is, it's everyone, but the thing, we have to teach our children the level of respect. Like, we're different, we look different, we worship different, we eat different. Because if we can't show respect and encourage them in all these other values, how are we ever going to teach what Jesus says love? We've got, and we got to show them love. We are Houston strong, Councilman. And we are Houston strong. Listeners, we are Houston strong, and together we can do this. Together we can.
Amen.
So,
well, Vicki, we're going to have you back. And thank you so much for calling.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
You got it. So, Pastor, let me ask you something.
Sure.
You had run before.
I did.
And then now you're a councilman. Are you having fun? Are you having fun?
I'm really having fun.
I mean, you look like it. Every time I see the municipal channel, you look like you're having a blast.
I am having so much fun, I can't hardly stand it. Now, the truth of it is, Gilbert, I ran twice.
Yeah, okay.
I ran in 2015. I ran in 2019. And then, of course, in 20.
Well, they do say that 3 times a charm.
3 times.
I do hear that. So,
God fulfilled it with me. I certainly tell most people that I know that the idea of the fact that just not quitting, just the idea of going, because my roots in Houston, the community I grew up in. That was the basics of never quit, whatever you go after.
What do you like most about now being a public official? What you look like you're having fun, you sound like you're having fun, but what's the most rewarding thing?
Serving the people. Serving the people. Just like right now, I'm doing a town hall meeting tonight.
Oh, is that right? Give us all the details. Is that what this is?
Yes, that's
Let's
what
go
this
through.
is.
Where is it?
We're going to be at the CT Church.
Okay.
On the east end, the CT
9701 Alameda Genoa at 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m.
Okay.
And this is this will be the 4th, but it'll actually be the 1st of 2025.
I see.
I started it in when I got in office. The first one we had was in June, and then we followed again, I think was in August, and then we did the other one around October. We started off on the north side. And what I promised, see, and this is the whole thing about why I'm loving this. Everything I promised, I'm doing it.
That's so great.
And that's what the community want. That's what the citizens want. This is not a show and tell for me. My role as a servant, Gilbert, on city council is because I love my city. That's number one. I love Houston. Secondly, I love humanity, no matter where they come from. My goal was, I said I was going to do 4 town hall meetings a year. Do you not know I'm the only council member that it was doing town hall meetings?
No kidding.
No kidding.
Come on.
No one prior to me was doing town hall meetings.
Wow.
I thought that was the most ridiculous thing in the world. You know why?
Touche to you, though.
Exactly. Thank you so much. But let me tell you why. Nobody, the average person in this city, is not going to call City Hall, put their name on the program to speak, come the next day, find parking, go through security, come upstairs to that chamber and sit for 3 hours to speak 1 minute.
That's right. And
it's not going to happen.
And it's intimidating.
It's very intimidating.
To be there,
and
you see this big, the Knights of the Round Table there.
Yes.
It's intimidating.
It's very intimidating. And so I said, you know what? And I'm a person who's been in this town all my life, and I observed that being a pastor, a community activist, and all of that, advocating for the community. And I said, this is ridiculous.
In 1 minute.
1 minute.
Come on, you can't even brush your teeth in a minute.
Exactly. So what did I do? I said, I'm going to do town hall meetings. Well, you can imagine the attitude around the council members. They were all kind of like, yeah, well, Willie say he going to do this, whatever. Well, guess what? I did the first one, room was packed. I did the second one, the room was even greater pack. I did the third one, it was even greater pack. So now they're understanding the fact that people want information. When I go to my town hall meetings, we have 14 vendors.
Wow.
Public Works, library, HR, HPD, HFD. We have all of these. We have FEMA, SBA. I bring them all to.
So they're there so the people can reach them and to ask questions and figure out how they can get these services.
Exactly.
Wow, what a hero you are.
Be tables around in the CT church. We're gonna have tables. It'll be in the sanctuary. Tables will be around the back, and we'll get there. The mayor may come through, because his schedule is, what it is. But my whole objective is, if the mayor could come, better it is. But otherwise, I have everybody. I have the city attorney.
Wow.
I had Arturo that. He was like, Councilman David, I absolutely want to be at your town.
I bet you nobody's asked him.
Never
and you know
before.
what? And he's such a smart, mild-mannered, nice guy.
Very smart.
He's just a real altogether human being.
He is a super guy.
Yes.
I love him. And he said to me, Councilman Davis, he said, man, I'll be honored to come to your town hall meetings. I want to come. And he came. And his office will be at this one and the others. Why? Because the citizens need to know who they serve.
That's right.
I have solid waste there. Okay?
Yep.
Parks and recreation. Everybody's going to be there. So why? Because it's taking it to the community. And that's what I love about it. I love serving, Gilbert. That's what I love doing. I love serving. I'm not in it. Well, what's going to be my next move and all that?
You got to take it to the streets.
Absolutely.
That's the only way. And what's interesting is what you said, because people think, oh, nobody's cares, this, that. That's not true.
That's not true.
It's not true.
No.
And when you have a real, sincere effort like what you're doing, they'll come out.
They will come.
Because they need help. People think, oh, times are great and this and that. You know what? I don't feel it out there. I think people are still struggling.
Well, Gilbert, I remember,
that's what I feel.
Well, you're absolutely right. And let me just say this for public. I've always been a person said, people have two opinions of you. They have a public and a private. And let me give you both my public and private opinion of you. I've watched you, got to know you more over the times back when you were chair for Tony and others. I know of you, your contributions to many areas, and I want to say publicly, as I would say privately, commend you. Many of your ideas that you talked about during the previous campaign, it was golden. You know,
Thank you.
And I mean this sincerely. And what I'm saying is the fact that you're using this tool right here to get that message out there, because what you offering is good and it's valuable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what we have to do, I'm serving these 4 years. I may not serve another 4. I may not. I don't know. But right now, I'm not trying to worry about the next 4.
That's right.
I'm worried about what I do in this 4 years. And I want to be effective in it. And I want to be on top of it.
How great.
And I'm rolling out so many agendas. My staff. Now, let me tell you what else I promised.
Go.
That my staff was going to look like Houston. My chief of staff is white because she has the years of the tenure, over 10 years. My administrator, well over 10 years, name is Stella Ramirez, bilingual Hispanic. My constituent service is Freddie Oliver, black male. My second constituent service is Long Win. He's Asian.
Oh, how great.
And I got a young adult. She's like 22 years old because I want a young adult in there that I could train and everybody and put that to it. That's what we've got to do. And my office is the only office in the city don't look like that.
That is so wonderful.
See, and what is that saying? I'm trying to send a message. I'm trying to serve it to let everybody know. For me, all people have a voice. Everybody talk about how Houston is multicultural and multi-diverse. Well, we need to show that. We need to show that. We need to put that in place. So I'm rolling out these town hall meetings. I've already created what is called the Ministry Advisory Board to the mayor. I had a breakfast.
Oh, how great.
Yeah.
I know they've been wanting one.
Absolutely.
Because they haven't had one since Lee Brown, I believe.
Exactly right.
I remember.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
And I resurrected it.
That's so great,
I had
Pastor.
a breakfast at the Hilton. And we had 170 pastors showed up.
That is so great. And, all they want is to just have a voice.
Absolutely.
And, and the beautiful thing is by getting the pastors involved, they are the instruments on earth for God, right? And they are out there in the community. Who knows best about the community than the pastors, right? Because they know.
Exactly.
They're out there with the pulse of people. I want to go back to something, if you don't mind. Now, you're an at-large council person.
Correct.
So does that give you an advantage? I mean, because, everyone knows I ran for mayor, et cetera.
Yes.
But when you think about council, there's, of course, the district council persons, and there's the at-large. The at-large, in my view, are kind of like themselves mini mayors, because they represent everybody. And it seems to me that it gives you the ability, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but to pick your lane of what's important to you, as opposed to if you are a district council person, everyone in your district is turning to you.
Absolutely.
And they want to know about, why does this street not have a light?
That's right.
Or why is my trash not picked up?
That's
right?
That's
So
right.
what do you think? I mean, obviously you think being at large gives you some freedom.
It does. Being at large, being at large is a big advantage for me, because it gives me the freedom to go all over the city. I'm just not locked on one particular district or area. I support the district council members because that's what we're supposed to do. But I also have to tell the district council members, your constituents voted for me also. So there are 5 of us, and we need to serve the whole entire community. And you're right. It gives me that much of an advantage. And so my staff and people, we go to work. We do what we need to do.
And, it's interesting because you don't know how big Houston is.
Oh my God.
Until I guess I've always been, I'm going to use an unfair term, but a lazy in the loop person, I guess, because you know what? I never realized how big Houston was till I ran for mayor. And when I go out to how far these districts go,
oh my God,
I was stunned.
I know you were.
Yeah, and so there you are trying to serve we're like 660 square miles.
Square miles. That's right.
That's enormous.
It's enormous. I don't know if you knew this, but I passed in Chicago for 4 years.
Oh, okay. I did not know.
You could sit 3 Chicagos in Houston. And in Chicago, had us by a few 100,000 people in terms of population
Mhm.
in the last census. But in this next census, we got more people.
We're going to close.
We're
I'm
gonna
going to close the gap or pass.
Yeah, we'll pass. We'll be number 3.
Well, hold on. We got a caller already.
Sure.
We have a Jessica. Is there a Jessica on?
Yes, hi. How are you, Gilbert? Happy New Year.
Well, Jessica, thank you for calling me. A tip from Gilbert. And I have Pastor Willie Davis, who, of course, is at-large council person from district number 2.
Mhm.
What do you got for us, Jess?
Hi, yes, I have a question for Councilmember Davis. First of all, I think it's great that a man of God is on the city council. We
Thank
need
you.
more
Thank
you.
that
Amen.
on city council because we need all the help we can get.
Yes.
But I do want to ask you, do you find it hard to balance your pastoral duties and your council member duties? Like, because I could understand how that could be a little overwhelming at times.
Well, Jessica,
There's so much.
thank you for that.
That's a great question.
That is
because
a great question.
You got all these constituents that
Yes,
need you,
yes.
and then you have your flock that needs you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's absolutely right. Great question, Jessica. I get asked that quite often because I'm still a pastor. I've been in combined years between Houston and Chicago. I've been pastor for 40 years.
Wow.
And so I love it. Of course, I just have a great congregation of people that support me in running for city council, but it is very taxing. All you have to do is ask my wife. She'll tell you,
She's the real council member.
She is the real council
Yeah, I
person.
understand that.
But yeah, it is a pretty, juggling act, but I love it. I've always been a person that I want to find myself busy. If I'm not busy, I'm an unhappy person.
Yeah, you're going to be.
Yeah. I'm Army Special Forces. I was attached to the Green Beret. So, Jessica, I've been doing this all my life. But no, I love it.
Amazing.
What's your?
That's
Just give your information to everyone. What's your office number and your website and all that, so people can reach you?
Yes, you can reach me at @large2, the number 2, @large2 at HoustonTX.gov. That is my direct email address. It goes straight to my office, to my administrator, Stella Ramirez, who is excellent. And so anybody want to reach me, you can do that, or you can call our office at 832-393-3013. 832-393-3013. But you can reach me. If you call 311, they'll directly straight to my staff. And one thing about my office, we don't put people on voicemail.
Beautiful.
You call my office, somebody gonna answer that phone.
So many times, and Jess, I don't know about you, but so many times I'm working on something. It's like, and all I say is, I just want to speak to a human being.
Absolutely.
Whatever happened to that? Just customer service. Everything is, and press 1 and press 2, and they got to sit through a whole commercial. And you're like, oh, please, I just want to speak to a human being.
I hate it.
I'm so glad that you're doing that. That's probably going to make you the most popular council member on the whole council.
Well, my staff, they let me know they work. We was in a meeting here about a couple of weeks back, and I was talking with some of the other council persons. It was like, well, how many calls do your council get? They said, about 3 a day. 3 a day?
3 a day?
We get like 25, 30 a day.
Wow.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But the mayor, Mayor Whitmire, he's doing such a great job. He tell me all the time, Council Davis, now, your office work, man. Y'all really
good for him. You know what? Good for him that he's aware of what's going on in his council, because it's hard to be aware. There's lots of people. He's busy.
Yes.
For him to know what's going on, that's pretty good.
It is pretty
That's
good.
really that's darn good. Way to go, Mayor.
He's very astute about what's going on and who's doing what.
It's so good. Well, Jess, anything else you got for the councilman?
No, that's amazing. Thank you so much for the work that you do.
Thank
and
you.
God bless you.
God bless you too, and pray for us, would you?
Yes, of course.
All
You have my
right.
prayer.
Thank you,
Thank you, Jess. So,
Thank you.
so let's go back for a second, because I want to go back to the day of young Willie.
Oh boy,
There had to have been a young Willie, and I'm sure he was I'm sure he had a lot going on. And where I'm going is, being a pastor is such an extraordinary profession. But it's not for everyone because, you're sharing yourself as an instrument of God with a whole flock.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot.
It's taxing.
Yeah. When did you get the message? Were you asleep one day and young Willie got a call and the Lord said, young Willie, I need you to spread my word? Or were your parents pastors? What was it that got you to become a pastor?
That, Gilbert, I'm glad you asked me that question, because oftentimes we as pastors and ministers don't get a chance to explain it or share it with other people. Let me tell you, I'm one of 6 boys, and then, of course, with 10 siblings. Now, interestingly, I am the only preacher in my family. None of my brothers were ever ministers. I had no one on my matriarch or patriarch side of family was ministers. No one, my grandfathers, uncles, no one.
So no one really influenced you?
No, no one ever influenced me. When I joined the Army, I was a student. I was at Sam Houston State University, left there and decided to join the Army. And I volunteered, joined the Army during Vietnam, in the closing of Vietnam. Killed my mother because she was like,
scared to death.
Oh, she was scared.
Scared.
Son, and her prayer was, she had 6 boys. She said, I never want to lose a son. And his body come back to me in a body bag. And when I joined, my mother said, son, why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to struggle and keep you in school. Well, it was a struggle in college because back then we didn't get any loans.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't getting any government
support.
No. So my father was paying for my college out of the pocket, right? But he had an accident coming out of Nacogdoches. He was a truck driver for Kroger, a grocery chain, and almost killed him.
Mm.
Well, that's when I made a decision then that I'm going to join the Army. I get the GI Bill. I can finish my college education. Well, the fear of that was, if you go to Vietnam, you may not come back.
Right.
Well, God would have it. I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan, which is kind of like the place you go before Nam.
Mm-hmm.
But God would have it. I served there. They sent me back to States, and I finished out my military career. Well, once I did that and going into work, and I worked for Brown and Root, which is now Halliburton. I worked for TxDOT, and after TxDOT, I worked for Phillips Chemical plant in Pasadena. And from there is when I received that calling in ministry.
No kidding.
That was
so
it.
you were already a young man.
I was a young man.
Okay. How did it transpire? Do you recall?
Yes, I do. Let me tell you what happened. I was stationed in Lawton, Oklahoma, at Fort Sill, at the Fort Sill Army Base. And here's a true story, Gilbert. That's why I'm glad you asked me this so I could share it. There was a young lady working with me. She was a civil service worker because, we would have them in the bases. Some people weren't military, they were civil service. And she invited me to church one night. And she said, Sergeant Davis, she says, you're such a nice guy. Everybody. She said, would you go to church with me and my husband? I said, sure. Well, I wasn't attending church, wasn't going to church. And I said, sure. Well, it was a revival going on in Oklahoma, in Lawton, for 5 days. What just so happened with me, I just never got back to her, never told her what night I was going to go, and a week went by. Well, the weekend came, Monday morning came, and I'm walking into my office, and I go in my office, and I see her coming down the sidewalk, and I went, I promised her I was going to go to church with her. And when she came in, she spoke, good morning, And I said, listen, I want to apologize that I didn't go to service with you last week because I really wasn't intentionally ignoring you. She says, oh, no problem. They doing it another week.
So she said, so you can come with me then.
That's right. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So they did a revival for 2 weeks. And it was a Wednesday night. And James Robinson, evangelist out of Fort Worth was preaching, and he was preaching tonight, and it was so powerful. I was going to my car because I was taking classes at Cameron University, Gilbert. I walked out the school, was going to the car to stick my key in the car to put my books in to get ready to go home. I could hear his voice coming over the speakers, and he says, how many of you here tonight believe that if you stuck your key in your car and you drove home and you died on your way home, did you know where you're going? And I thought, is he talking to me?
I mean, isn't that bizarre? There you were
with my
You're
key.
probably the only one outside hearing it, putting your key in the car.
Exactly.
He was talking to you.
He was talking to me. And I went, this guy's talking to me.
Yeah.
So I go over to the railing, and next thing I knew, I went inside the speaking. I sit there in the audience, and it was that night.
Wow.
Transformed my life.
Wow.
Transformed my life.
And you never looked back.
Never looked back.
Wow, what a great story that is. You know, I mean, it's a beautiful story.
It is.
And so there's no like book on how to be a preacher.
No.
You know what I mean? There is nothing. So you're just like on the job training of, and all I know is probably people just coming to you because, you know, you go through life and you're just sort of busy. But when you have a problem, a sickness, a death, you lose your job, you and your wife or you and your husband are in a bad place, you always go to the pastor.
That's right.
And so in many ways you become like the resident, you know, therapist and everything.
You all of that, and especially in the Black church and probably same in Latino church, we everything.
Yeah,
we're
everything.
The counselor, we're the psychologist, we're the lawyer, we all of that, you know. But you get used to it, you know, you get accustomed to it. And you serve. And that's one of the things, the highlight of why I love what I do on council. Now I get a chance. God has afforded me the opportunity to serve my city, even in another level.
You know what? It's in many ways, I'm not trying to belittle anything at all, so please excuse me here. In many ways, it's like your flock just increased.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
10 times, 100 times.
Exactly right.
Wow, I hadn't thought about it. It just dawned on me. Hold that thought. We have a caller already. Is there a Rosalind?
Yes, there is.
Rosalind, what do you got for us? Gilbert Garcia, tip from me with Pastor Willie Davis, council member at large, position 2.
How are you, Mr. Garcia? And I wanted to speak to my old friend, Pastor Willie Davis.
Oh,
what? You got him.
Wait a minute. Which Rosalind is this?
You know which Rob, the old neighbor.
he knows.
I got it.
He knows.
How are you, girl?
I'm good. How are you? I'm listening to the podcast, and I say, let me call in and speak to my buddy.
It is so good to hear your voice. Happy New Year.
And Rosalind,
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to both of you all.
Does he sound the same, even though he's a councilman now? Is he just the same Pastor Willie?
Yeah, that's the same one. He sounds the same. Yes, we grew up together in the 3rd Ward, went to Stephen F. Austin.
Yes.
Yes, the family well. Yes, I just wanted to call and say hello.
Magruder is a beautiful person. She is. I mean, now let me tell you, most people would know. She wouldn't know me by Willie Davis.
Yeah,
you're right. Don't tell her. Let me tell her.
Go. You go,
Mr. Gilbert. I know him by Ray Baby. Now he might get a
wait, did you just say?
How I do
did you just say Ray Baby?
Yes, I did.
Ray Baby. You know,
with all due respect.
You know what? I'm going to somehow get a message to the mayor. So then at the council, he's going to just say, okay, we got a comment here from Ray Baby. And I think that would just blow you away, right, if that happened.
It would Florida Council, trust me. That was my nickname. That was my nickname in the hood. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
This lady and I went to school. I mean, we talking about from elementary to middle school.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this, Miss Rosalind, since you're there. What was young Willie like? Was he just like friends with everybody? Was he like always cutting up in class? And what was he like? Tell us about him.
Actually, no, he wasn't. He was a very nice, respectful young man.
Beautiful.
Never had any problems. Never heard anything bad about him. No, I can say that. And yes, he was a very nice, respectful young man.
And did you know the family? Did you know all the brothers and sisters?
I knew most of them.
Yes.
His sister, one of his sisters and I, we were really like close friends.
Yes.
Oh, that is a
Yes.
beautiful thing. Beautiful
Yes, I
thing.
knew that. Yes.
Well, I'm still stuck with that whole Ray baby, and I am so glad you shared that. And
we're not Gilbert. We don't need you spreading it around.
I'm not.
Looking for me.
I'm not going to tell anybody except 100,000 people listen to the show right now on all 5 stations that I got going. But I'm not going to tell anybody but them.
Pastor Davis, I'm gonna have to. I haven't met your wife yet, but I won't have to apologize for that now.
but that's okay. You'll get a chance to meet her. She's just a beautiful, beautiful lady. You would love her. Yes, and I don't mind people knowing my nickname because, of course, my middle name is Ray.
Yep,
Willie Ray Davis.
Willie Ray Davis.
That's right. And my brothers named me Ray Baby because I was just such a kid that was so close to my dad, and they was like, boy, they would always say, stop acting like a baby.
Yeah.
And then they say, Ray, stop acting like a baby. So they say, Ray Baby.
Well, Miss Robinson, you may have made my day, I think, maybe my whole week. But we so appreciate you calling in and sharing with us that little morsel of entertainment. Please keep listening to the show.
I will. I'll do that. And Pastor Davis, I hope to see you soon.
I'm looking forward to it, sister. Love you, Roz.
Love you too.
All righty.
All right. Thank you, Gilbert.
You're welcome.
All right.
Wow. Of all the people,
person.
right? Of all
Yes.
the people to call.
Beautiful person.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, we grew up together. Just a wonderful lady. Her family and I, we all grew up in the same neighborhood, and it's just a joy, to hear people that can remember.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that gives me great honor in serving in the city, because the people know me. The people that know me, they know of me. They know,
and they know they can trust you because
Absolutely.
they've been, hearing about you for a long time.
Mhm.
Well, let me go to something real quick because I had a call from my wife today.
Yeah.
And Dee Dee, if you're listening, I love you. And she was concerned because she's on, and I am too, and I don't quite know how this app works, this neighborhood app.
Yeah.
And she heard about break-ins, 2 of them over the holidays around our neighborhood. And, it's just so interesting that, and you would think, we live in a pretty nice neighborhood, et cetera.
Sure.
But you know what? It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And it's at the point somehow that I think people feel hopeless and helpless. Like it's not big enough to really call the police because I'll be there all day long, and it's not big enough. But yet people feel violated
Exactly.
at these things. And even though it may not have been, and I don't know how serious it was because my wife didn't really get into details. She was just so shook up about making sure we lock our homes and this and that.
Yeah.
But, what do you see out there about the key issues and what's happening with crime right now?
Well, let me again thank you guys and all of you, your team here with you, Gilbert. That was another thing that I ran on, crime. I talked about crime way before I ran in 23. I talked about it in 2019. I tried to get the previous administration to take a better look at crime. They didn't listen to me. I ran on a slogan called "Let's Keep Houston Safe." People laughed.
Good slogan.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about, Willie? Let's keep Houston safe.
You know what? They're not laughing now.
They're not laughing now.
Yeah.
But trust me, they're not laughing now.
That's right.
And when I did it, I never forget. In 2019, I ran on that, Gilbert, and I was so hurt, so upset with them not paying attention to crime. So one day after the election, I lost it to the incumbent. And in 2019, I called Greg Grogan at Fox 26. I said, Greg, listen to me.
Good man he is, but
He's a good man.
Yes.
I said, Greg, listen, man, what are y'all gonna do? Y'all ain't talking about this enough. He says, Pastor Davis, he says, yeah, I remember you. I said, do you remember what I said about let's keep Houston safe? He said, yeah, I do. I said, so what we do? He said, I tell you what, you're right. Can I come out to your church and interview you? I said, yes. He came out. I said, listen, Greg, you got 199 homicides in 2019. We had 199. I said, we better get a hold of this crime, Greg. The next year, Gilbert, it went up over 400.
Oh my God.
In 2020, we was over 400. Then it just kept going progressively higher. Now, why? Because criminals follow prosperity. Listen to me. This is the thing I also say to the mayor. I say to the mayor, she said, 5 minutes. And I say to the mayor, I said, Mayor, listen, criminals don't follow prosperity. Whether you live in a nice community, whether you're in a mall, whether you're in a store, you get me? Criminals gonna follow that. And we've got to curtail that. So I've created, and you will be one of the first public radio as well as TV to hear this. I'm introducing a program called PPP, Police, Pastor, and People.
Yay.
Police, Pastor, and People. And I've talked with Mayor Whitmire. I've talked with Chief Diaz. I've talked with people. I'm initiating this. Pastors are going to be involved in the Black and the Latino, white pastors and all. We're going to present it. You with me? Because our young people, I got statistics. I'm getting ready to roll out now. I'm getting ready to do a press conference in the next few weeks with all of us standing. Crime Stoppers, Tom Ramsey, Paul Betancourt, all of those people going to be standing with me, and I'm going to put out numbers. I've done the studies for the past year. I've done the study. Do you know who's committing most of our crimes in this city?
Who?
Teenagers. 10 years old, 11 years old,
Come
12
on.
years old.
If we can't reach the youth like that, we're going to be lost as a society.
Exactly.
Because then they get in the system so early, and then it becomes hopeless.
And you know what the penalty is if you catch a 13-year-old with a Glock?
What?
It's a misdemeanor. We've got to do something. And what I'm going after this, I'm not saying this to lock up all of our teenagers. You know, I was a teenager. Of course, I didn't go around with guns at my time, whatever. But this is a whole new generation. But here's what I'm saying. You can't put a Band-Aid on the shotgun wound. We got to deal with it because we got to help these young people from ruining their lives for the rest of their lives.
That's right.
And at the same time, we have to protect society. We have to protect society. So teenagers are being used by older criminals to get them to commit the crimes because they know they're not going to prison. They know you're going to get a misdemeanor penalty or whatever for carrying a weapon. No. You notice recently how many teenagers are committing crime? The gentleman out north that shot those 4 kids, that one was 12 years old.
Oh, yeah.
That they got now what they call pop-up clubs. The person on Jensen got shot, went in there, 14-year-old girl lost her life inside of a pop-up.
And and what's terrible about that is every time there's a murder, a killing, or even someone that's shot and they're in the hospital, you're affecting so many people around them because there's families, there's parents, and there's siblings and neighbors, and it's just heart-wrenching, and it's a multiplier effect on the society.
Absolutely.
And then what's terrible is if they get locked up in the system, they come out worse than when they were in there.
That's exactly.
It's just terrible.
It's terrible.
It's a vicious cycle.
I went to the juvenile detention center right before Christmas. They had a Christmas party for the juvenile detention center. And I said to the director, I said, listen, this is a great program. But here's the deal. This is the reaction. What are we worried about with the proaction? See, I understand the compassion of those kids while they're in there. Yes. But I want to do something before they get there.
Before they get in there.
Yes.
And reach out. We have one more call. Let's see if we can fit it in. Chris. We have about a minute or so. Chris, you got about 30 seconds. You got a call, a question for me or the pastor?
Yes, I have a question for the pastor. Very nice to meet you, Willie David. My quick question.
Sure, Chris.
How can the Catholic Church effectively promote its teachings and values in a diverse community while embracing cultural traditions of its members?
So again, how does the church?
How do they embrace the values, especially in a cultural city like Houston?
How does the church embrace that?
Yes, and the community as well, embracing its members.
Well, my attitude about that is this. You know, I may be of one faith, but I respect all faiths. I, as a council member, I have to represent everybody. You understand? And so what I often do is when we're dealing with issues relative to society, I focus on the issue rather than on their religious tie. You know, I respect all people, whatever faith they have. I'm hoping that answered your question.
Yeah, and I'm gonna intervene. Chris, please call it again, because Pastor Davis, it's hard to believe that an hour has already gone by.
I know.
I just blink my eye.
I know.
And you're probably saying, what do you mean it's an hour? That camera is right on you.
That's
you got 30
unbelievable.
seconds. That's your camera. What do you want to tell Houston right now?
Listen, Houston, I love you. We're a great city. We're going to be even a greater city. Listen, I want all of us to keep our city in mind. Let's get our city safe. And challenging you as you challenge me and all the city council, our mayor, to go out and do better to make Houston a better city. Gilbert Garcia is doing his part. He's doing his role. It's now for us to do it. That's the reason why I'm promoting that program called PPP. We all got to do our part. We just can't put it on the police officers. Those men and women lay their lives on the line every day. Feel free to contact my office at large 2 at HoustonTX.gov. God bless you all. Let's have a prosperous and happy and safe new year.
You heard it here first. We'll see you next time. Garcia, listen to my radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on Houston's gospel leader, KWWJ. 1360 AM and streaming live on kwwj.org. Listen on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and streaming live on kyokradio.org. KCOH 1230 AM, The Source on San Geek Radio 95.1 FM 1460 AM and Aliento Radio 101.7 FM and 1540 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then.